results. Nyalonje said 58.44% pass rate, which is an increase from the previous year's 52.20%, is evident enough that the country is making strides in improving education, and the results are a collective effort and a product of support from many stakeholders, including the hard work of the candidates. Bridget Monoka reports.
Out of the 152,391 candidates who took the exam, 84,477 passed, representing 58.44% pass rate, an increase from the previous year's 52.20%. Nyalonje said results of this year's MSc examination will help government determine the impact of such provisions on learner achievements and enable them make informed decisions on the next course of action for strengthening teaching and learning interventions and the formal curriculum.
It reflects the level of support that schools are receiving, and I would like to say that my ministry commits to continuing to improve the inputs into education. For example, even as we speak, we have 38 secondary schools being constructed, nearing completion in many cases. What this means is that we're continuing to give our youth improved chances for a quality education.
In her remarks, Manebo Executive Director Professor Dorothy Nampoda commended efforts by all players who participated in the processing and administration of the 2022 MSCE examinations.
We've seen from the results that there are variations in terms of performance between the districts, but amongst the districts, but also amongst the schools. So amongst the schools that have performed very well, it shows that the teachers are putting in more effort to the students, but also seeing that most of them are mission schools. You look at the discipline as also a contributing factor to the success of the candidates. So for the schools that have not done so well, as the minister has said, it's not the end of the world. But we can learn a leaf from the schools that are performing well.
The top 10 performing schools are St. Kizito Seminary, Marist Secondary School, Nankunda Seminary, Lilongwe Islamic Secondary School, Dedza Secondary School, St. Mary's Secondary School, Loyola Jesuit Secondary School, Lilongwe Girls Secondary School, Maranatha Boys Secondary School, and Wasambo Boys High School. Bridget Manoka, for Luntha News in Lilongwe.
Still on education, Likon Girls alumni of the 80s have today donated school uniforms, shoes, exercise books and other school materials worth 1,350,500 kwacha to needy students at Likon Girls Secondary School in Lilongwe. Speaking after handing over the donation, chairperson of Likoni Girls Alumni of 80s, Happiness Nkoma, said they were touched when they heard the appeal on Luntha TV of the need to help some girls at the institution. She explains more.
Okay, it was the appeal through Luntha radio, and because we have got the passion for our mother Likuni, we thought we should do something, contribute to the needy students. That's what prompted us. The appeal that we have their needed students and they needed uniforms, and we have been able to solicit funds to buy the uniforms out of the list. We haven't touched so many parts, but we said at least out of the list we just chose one thing, so that we should dress them, that they should have uniforms.
And speaking after receiving the donation, head teacher for the institution, Sister Maria Nyendwa, thanked the group for their generosity. She further asked other well-wishers to come forward and assist other girls to smoothen their secondary education.
I'm really happy because they have really assisted us. We have poor students who come from different parts of the country, and when they come and they don't have enough, they feel bad. Even their performance is affected because they see that they are needy and their friends have a lot.
The African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM, has called on civil society organizations in Malawi to be together and build their capacity. During the Malawi African Peer Review Mechanism Popular Sensitization Project MAPS workshop, which was held today in Lilongwe, chairperson for the National Task Force on APRM, who is also the chairman for Human Rights Consultative Committee (HRCC), Robert Mkwezalamba, said by building the capacity of the CSOs and appreciating what the APRM mechanism is, all the central sectors of the economy can help to identify the gaps and make recommendations to government for a similar review. Charity Jilanga has more in this report.
African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM, seeks to assess the performance of the state in matters of political, economic and social governance of their countries, among other things. APRM was agreed in 2003 by heads of government and state to unilaterally and voluntarily provide an assessment of their governance and economic development systems in their respective countries. According to the chairperson for the National Task Force on APRM, Robert Mkwezalamba, APRM provides an opportunity for countries to share best practices to ensure that their policies and programs are drawn towards developing each country to ensure that they provide for their people in a systematic and structured manner. He said civil society organizations, CSOs, are key partners in ensuring that government comply with commitments that are in need.
At our level, we seek to build the capacity of CSOs. That's bringing ourselves together. We need to reconscientize ourselves to appreciate what the APRM mechanism was, or the initial intention of the review was. Having done that, then we need to assess all the sectors of our economy, how things are being done, both politically as well as operation-wise in areas of governance, institutions of government, resource allocation, access to basic needs and social needs. And then when we do an analysis, we need to identify the gaps and then be able to make recommendations to government and the heads of governments who will be meeting next year to undertake a similar review. So besides ours, you have the process by government. It also has to undertake its own self-assessment. In doing so, it has to invite stakeholders, and CSOs are part of the stakeholders. The two reports have to an extent to speak to each other.
Meanwhile, Presidential Advisor on Non-Governmental Organizations and the Principal Secretary for the Ministry of Finance, Martha Kwataini, said this is a critical moment for the civil society organizations to get involved, as they complain that they are not given opportunities to participate in decision-making. According to Kwataini, government is willing to open up to critical views because ultimately non-state actors are partners in development.
It's a critical moment for the civil society because these are spaces that they usually complain that they're not given. So at the African Union level, where the African peer review mechanism was signed, it actually stipulated the guidelines, and it provides the mandate to civil society, non-state actors, to do an assessment of government on the various thematic areas. So it's an opportunity for the civil society to participate in decision-making.
Kwataini further appreciated civil society organizations like Malawi Economic Justice Network, Margin, for realizing the spaces that government was not utilizing, for it to mobilize and do the capacity which, after sensitizing the other stakeholders, government can do the actual work of reviewing. African Governance and Diplomacy for South African Institute of International Affairs Program Head, Steve Klutz, said it is crucial for civil society groups and non-state actors in Malawi to understand what African peer mechanism is, how it works, and how they can be active parties during the process.
Sure. So today's workshop is to help civil society groups and non-state actors in Malawi understand what the African peer review mechanism is, how it works, and how they can be active participants in the process.
Malawi has not undertaken peer review mechanism but attempted in 2004, which was abandoned in the process. Reporting for Luntha Television News in Lilongwe, this is Charity Jilanga.
This newscast is coming to you from a Bishop Navy Media Center in Area 2, Lilongwe, and you are with me, Bernard Mansa. We'll be back after this break.
Nanga bwanjizi kama ndichitikira izi mango yanganira Ujibande kanda esesa Kuma mpamvu zanga zikubelewela
Amoni ya Malawi nonse kulikonse kumene muli. Ine ndine Grace Belebeda, phungu wa dera la Zomba Malosa, ndipo ndikufuna ndikukumbutseni kuti nthawi ino kuyambira pa 26 Novemba kukafika pa 10 December tikudusa mu nyengo yomwe dziko lonse limakumbukira masiku 16 apadera a nkhani za nkhanza. Nkhanza zimenezi zitokhala za kwa amayi kapena abambo, ndipo mu nyengo imeneyi tikuyesetsa kuti tikulimbikitseni kuti mukaona nkhanza ina iliyonse chonde tiyeni tafikeneni atsogoleri omwe tikukhala nawo, kaya ku polisi, kaya kwa afumu, kaya ma CBO, kaya ma youth network, atsogoleri ena aliwonse kuti tithandizidwe. Chifukwa nkhanza zimenezi ndi zimenenso zikumatipangitsa kuti mwina tizichotsa moyo wathu mosayembekezereka. Ndi chonde amalawi anzanga tisachotse moyo chifukwa cha nkhanza. Nthawi ino masiku amene wa 16 omwe boma linapatula, tiyeni tiyang'ane kuti nkhanza za mtundu wina uliwonse sizikuchitika m'madera mwathu, kaya ni m'masukulu, kaya ni mchipatala, kaya ndi pamudzi pamene nkhanza ina iliyonse tiyeni tiyipangeni ripoti. Zikomo kwambiri.
Nditetezeni, omwezi kumandichitikira izi samango yanganira.
Welcome back to our 7:30 news bulletin here on Luntha television. But before proceed, let's take a look at our main stories.
Pope Francis to travel to DRC and South Sudan in 2023. Government attributes this year's MSCE impressive results to collaborative efforts among stakeholders. Parliament passes Public Audit Amendment Bill, which gives government power to appoint Auditor General. And another news, DR Congo Army accuses M23 rebels of killing 50 civilians.
And moving on, government will now have the power to appoint Auditor General as Parliament has today passed the Public Audit Amendment Bill. Presenting the bill to the House, Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Sotin Gwengwe, said the bill seeks to amend the Public Audit Act, which among other things gives a new eligibility criteria for the office of the Auditor General. He said it is high time the office of the Auditor General gets occupied, as it has remained vacant for about 5 years. Bridget Manuka has more in this report.
The bill seeks to amend the Public Audit Act in order to make best provision for qualifications for appointment to the office of Auditor General. Gwengwe stated that of the requirements now are a master's degree in accountancy, finance or related field, 15 years auditing experience, a member of a professional accountancy organization and a member of Malawi board. He said the office of the Audit General has been vacant for about 5 years, hence the importance of the bill to be passed for the betterment of the country.
We have had the audits done up to the current or the previous financial year, meaning we are current with doing the audits. It's the certification of these 2 previous audits that has been a problem because we don't have a substantive auditor general. And what this bill now does is it allows us to now go out and do the recruitment process because we have cast the net a little bit wider and we should be able to get a good pool of people from which we can pick a substantive auditor general.
DPP spokesperson in Parliament, Shadrack Namalomba, applauded the passing of the bill but was quick to challenge the current government not to politicize the post.
What we have observed in the in the period that we have had the Tonse government, we have noted that a number of public appointments are politicized.
Making his stand, Member of Parliament for Chikwawa West, Owen Jamanika, said it is good that the bill is extending that those who don't have a practicing license with Malawi Accountants Board can apply after putting all the qualifications together.
The position taken by Accountants Board and the government is proper because they are now opening up to make sure that even those that are in the civil service can be licensed to be practicing, to be deemed to be practicing while in government. Because previously it was not very common, it was mostly private practicing. But public practicing now, because it's opening up as the minister said, I think that's a better position we are taking. But in the interim we are desperate. We have spent years without an auditor general.
Only a person with a practicing license by Malawi Accountants Board was qualified for the position, but this is not the case with the new amendment. The office of the Auditor General has been vacant since 2018 when Stephenson Kampasa's contract expired. Bridget Mwanoka, Luntha News in Lilongwe.
The National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Elimination Program, NTLEP, has urged artists in the country to use their art in spreading TB and leprosy messages as one way of creating a nation free from the 2 diseases. NTLEP's Community Mobilization and Engagement Officer, Beatrice Nindi, says it is evident enough that the country's highest population follows arts such as music, poems and dramas, and as such it is necessary to disseminate such information in a way that they can easily understand. She has since urged the artists to find out more information from the program for them to be much acquainted with knowledge on TB and leprosy, for them to be in a good position to spread it. And she has also called other partners to support the good cause. This is part of what Nindi had to say.
We are planning, we have of course plans to reach out to a number of musicians to compose the songs, the TB and leprosy songs. But we have shortfalls for those NGOs who do TB, HIV, TB and leprosy. They can reach out to us so that they can support us. These musicians will need something, some resources for studio and their transportation. Also, there are some musicians who can be willing to help us just to compose the TB song or leprosy song and come to us for them. They can come to us for messages and they can develop the songs.
And Elongo-based West Dimbono, popularly known as Chimtengela, is one of the local musicians who is passionate on TB and leprosy issues, and he says he will keep on providing messages through music, rather through his music, for people to understand better.
Iyai mau dan hakundi cara iyai mau no bisa ore nyimbo gira lai nagula mushomo then
As one way of making sure that the agro-dealers are selling authorized seeds, police in Lombardy conducted a sensitization campaign aimed at making sure that all agro-dealers are abiding by 2022 Seed Act guideline. Speaking with Luntha Television, Public Relations Officer for Lombardy Police Station, Felix Quinyani, has warned all the agro-dealers against selling counterfeit seeds, saying all those who will be contravening the act will be prosecuted accordingly. The warning comes as one way of ensuring that agro-dealers around Lombardy and Chitugula trading centers are adhering to 2022 Seed Act guidelines. The police has also advised the agro-dealers to have good storage for their seeds by avoiding exposing them to harsh conditions such as sunshine exposure and wet or cold conditions. Kunyani explains.
We are mandated to take part in sensitizing the community in this particular the agro-dealers that they should abide by the Seed Act 2022. We are advising the agro-dealers is to sell the certified in order to go in line with the Malawi government. So we conducted a sensitization as well as the monitoring campaign in all trading centers, in all agro-dealers between Lombardy and the Chitugula Trading Center, in order to warn them against selling counterfeit seeds. So the essence of the awareness campaign is that.
And now in sports news. Virgin 5 Youth Games have been launched today in Lilongwe at an event which is currently taking place at the Bingu National Stadium. The event has been graced by Malawi's Head of State, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, alongside his Mozambican counterpart, Filipe Nyusi, who is in the country for official duties. As part of kicking off the games, dignitaries from the participating teams earlier today conducted a tree planting exercise at Nalikuli College of Education in Lilongwe. Speaking at the site, the Mozambican dignitary Carlos Mendes, who is also the Vice Chairperson for the African Union Sports Council Region 5, said youths should be on the forefront of taking care of the environment. He said Malawi and Mozambique have recently been hit by storms resulting from the climate change, so it is a must to take care of the environment as a future prevention measure. Proceeding with the international story, the Congolese army has accused M23 rebels of killing about 50 civilians in the eastern town of Kishishe. It comes amid reports of mass killings following the resumption of fighting, with a ceasefire agreed on last week appearing to be collapsing. The rebel group has denied the allegations against them as baseless, saying it has never targeted civilians. Thousands of people are fleeing the fighting between the rebels, government forces and allied militias in different parts of North Kivu province. Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo DRC agreed at talks in Angola that a ceasefire would take effect last Friday. The M23 said the truce did not concern them as they were not invited to the talks. Rwanda denies allegations that it backs the M23. Well, with that story from DRC, we have come to the end of our 7:30 news bulletin here on Luntha Television. But before we go, let's recap our main stories. Pope Francis to travel to DRC and South Sudan in 2023. Government attributes this year's MSCE impressive results to collaborative efforts among stakeholders. Parliament passes Public Audit Amendment Bill, which gives government power to appoint Auditor General. And in other news, DR Congo Army accuses M23 rebels of killing 50 civilians. You were with me, Bernard Mwanza, and on behalf of the entire newsroom here at Luntha Television, I'm wishing you a lovely weekend. Goodbye for now.